I love it too, man. I love that Obamacare has 21 taxes, 7 on them on poor people. And that's not counting other hidden taxes like making them cut people from full-time to part-time to avoid Obamacare. Yeah, stalling the country out, shipping in unlimited illegal aliens, making them legal instantly for 3 years. I mean, it is just awesome to have people that hate the average American worker so much running the country. And what's incredible about it is it's really happening. We really have a government that ships the illegals in, has a deal with Mexico to legalize the Guatemalans and other Central and South Americans, to then conduit them up on big trains to our border where they're loaded by the tens of thousands per day onto buses and shipped under any name they want around the country. And then it was even in mainstream news on Friday. I couldn't believe it when the TSA admitted we've been told to let illegals fly without IDs. You know, I've seen that many times where I'm being groped and children are being groped and there's naked body scanners and we're all suspects while the government funds Al-Qaeda and ISIS worldwide. It's all about training us for slaves, but I've seen illegals with no ID. They don't even call somebody over that speaks Spanish. They just let them through to fly. Breitbart, exclusive, TSA allowing illegals to fly without verifiable ID, says Border Patrol Union. Yeah, I've seen that myself and talked about it for years because it's all a hoax. It's an out-of-control government and bureaucracy and corporate interests that are anti-free market monopolists that control it, that want us to learn to be prisoners. And as the number 4 former head of the NSA, William Binney, has now told the London Guardian the ultimate goal of the NSA is total population control. Control. They know what you're buying, what you're doing. And you're like, well, I don't care. They use that info to game the markets, and they give that info to select interest who can then corner the market. It's like high-frequency trading with Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan plugged into the stock market, gaming it. It's like a casino. But people think, oh, I'll win in the system. No, you won't. Not unless you're one of the gamers. In other news, bloggers' surveillance in Obama's Orwellian state. Obama's Orwellian state. No, it's the political class's Orwellian state. Don't just blame Obama. He's bad enough. But this is whistleblower. NSA stores 80% of all phone calls, not just metadata. Pentagon correspondent for the New York Times refers to Americans as children. The New York Times says the media and government work together to keep the truth from us, and he goes on to describe us. It's a disgusting article. Tom Shanker, working with the NSA and CIA, as the relationship between the government and media is like a marriage. It is dysfunctional, to be sure, but we stay together for the kids. Jeffrey Dahmer did what he did for the kids as well. He grabbed them off the street, and you know what he did for the children. And now we've got to legalize all these people because they're only advertising the teenagers that are the future Democratic voting group. And again, I'm not even a Republican, but I'm sitting here watching the Republican Party. We need a third and fourth party. But I'm watching the only other party that the libertarians are trying to take over commit suicide because its leadership has been bought off, Boehner, you name it. And it's just insane. It's insane. Political correctness is a suicide pact. Obama calls GOP lawsuit over executive outreach. I want to cue that up and play it. A political stunt. Obama unloaded on House Republicans in a plan to sue him for executive outreach. This has been going on for a while, but it's back in the news today. And Al Gore wants it criminalized to disagree with him, that, you know, we should basically pay him to breathe. Let's go ahead and go to that clip of Obama.
Well, you notice that he didn't specifically say what exactly he was objecting to. I'm not going to apologize for trying to do something while they're doing nothing.
Even if he gets sued.
You know, the suit is a stunt.
Here he is talking to Stephanopoulos, a literal Clinton crime family operative. And the Clintons run Obama. He's their They have a word for it. It begins with a B. He is their you know what they call it. It's the name of a female dog. Obama is their B, just like we all are, basically. And the Clintons, El Jefe Clinton and his wife, Clinton's had so many heart attacks and so coked out of his mind on record and so many rape cases pending in court. He's not really running things. But Hillary, the Clinton crime machine, the files they have, everything they've done is basically in charge of all this. And Obama says, I don't know what Congress has said about it. Okay, let me tell you. You became the head of the UN Security Council, violating Article 1, Section 9. No president ever did that, to be a sitting sworn head of the UN. Totally illegal. You put our military in 3 separate commands and letters to Congress without authorization over our military. NATO over our military. That's worse than you being a dictator. You said you got your authorization from NATO to do all these different things in Libya, Syria, you name it. Let's just keep going here. You gave billions of dollars to energy companies without congressional approval to your political friends that didn't even build anything. You staged shipping guns into Mexico in your own memos that CBS News got to blame the Second Amendment and the false flag to frame gun owners. You, should I keep going, ordered the Border Patrol to stand down 4 months ago on record and to stop apprehending illegals and instead do their paperwork to make them legal, with the former head of the Ford Foundation now heading up the Immigration Department to openly legalize all these people. You openly passed Obamacare, there's 21 taxes, most of them on poor people, to transfer money offshore and double and triple prices. You did not faithfully defend and execute the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. You have openly said if Congress won't do what you want, that's gridlock. No, that's another branch of government not agreeing with you. And that you will act alone whenever you want on guns, you name it, and ban importation of guns, use the EPA to shut down every bullet manufacturer in the country. The last one closed in January. The last smelters of lead, that is. And now you're trying to block Chinese lead coming in. You, on every front, are butchering the country and involved in a revolution against this republic. And you say you don't know why people are upset. And then he gave a speech in Austin, 2 speeches in Austin. In both speeches, they were televised. He said, why they won't do anything, I'll act. Remember the first few years? Well, I can't be a dictator. I can't just act alone. In every speech he gave, so they would beg, no, act alone, act alone. Well, I can't do that. I would give you free everything, but I just can't. Now he's going, no, I'll act alone. I'll act alone. And I remember saying years ago on air, you said it as well. All of you out there were freaked out about it, that he was priming the pump. Gee, if I was a dictator, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Remember Bush said that too. You know, but gee, jeepers, creepers. And now they're doing it. And now Obama says he will act alone on immigration when it's Congress that makes the immigration laws. It's Congress that coins the money and orders the money and levies the taxes. But he's acting alone on EPA regulations. Coal power plants, on record, put out less carbon dioxide and less water vapor and all the rest of it than gasoline or natural gas. But Obama wants them all banned to jack up your power prices, because his buddies own the alternative. If shutting off our power without congressional approval isn't an act of a dictator, I don't know what is. And I've told Congress privately, a lot of people I talk to off air, you need to call him a dictator. They've been doing that. That's good, because when you're faced with tyranny, you got to admit it's tyranny.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. Today I'd like to talk about the war on women. You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Each of these ingredients works synergistically with the female body in order to maximize overall vitality. You've heard the reviews and the feedback on how the original Super Male Vitality has revitalized relationships. Now, both the man and the woman can have the revitalization in their own bodies with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. Secure your super female vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
Hey, what's going on with the World Cup? Germany versus Poland. I'm trying to make all the soccer fans upset that I don't know that it's Germany versus Argentina. What is going on with that right now? Because, you know, our borders are falling. They've changed laws to take our bank accounts. Europe is now following suit, as we said they would last year when they tested out in Portugal. Deutschland is 1, Argentina is 0. You know, England could never defeat the Germans. Of course, I'm Welsh myself, so I'm not a you know, anti-Anglophile, but I'm not a Deutschophile as well. I don't worship either group. But England on record had the German question in World War I and World War II. Their answer in World War I to overthrow the Austrian-Hungarian Empire was to kill a bunch of royalty and make them mad to start a war. And in World War II, they just put Hitler in, started funding him 20 years before to take over the country. And it's been declassified. He was basically a British agent. Didn't mean he worked for him. They just helped get him in. Kind of like the West. Britain started this about 114 years ago in 1900 in Saudi Arabia, what's Saudi Arabia today, funding radical Islam. The radical Islam's real, but the West is funding it and using it as a pretext to destabilize the Middle East. And that's actually in the news today. That's coming up in the next hour. But again, toll-free number to join us, 877-789-2539. All I ask is that if you don't have a good phone, don't call in. It's like my cell phone always sounds terrible when I call in, so I don't usually do that unless it's an emergency when I got a fill-in host or somebody. So just please have a good phone. If you disagree with me, it's even better. That tends to wake me up a little bit. But we'd love to hear from you out there. Not that I'm not awake. Okay, so calls coming up in the next hour. Here's the big news. He said this a month ago, but he said it again. The story's the top story on Infowars.com and also DrudgeReport.com is where we got it. Weekly Standard. Holder, homegrown violent extremists keep me up at night. And, of course, the Justice Department's own numbers say that the smallest criminal group out there is homegrown extremists. They believe that about 1 cop gets killed a year. It's been like 14 or something since 2000. And, I mean, honeybees kill 200 and something, wasps 300 and something, deer 200 and something. I mean, it's just, but he just keeps them up at night. And Obama concurs and says extremists with nukes are going to blow up New York City. Should I play the Obama clip for you where he said that he doesn't know who's going to do it, but they're going to blow up New York with a nuke? And then the Pentagon trains to fight the Tea Party. I'm going to explain something to you. The Pentagon doesn't train to fight somebody unless that's their next enemy. So when you see in the Army Times and Stars and Stripes and Forbes and Reuters and AP that they believe gun-owning veteran Tea Party Christians and conservatives and libertarians are going to attack police stations and blow things up, they're going to do it and blame it on us. Okay. Any moron could figure that out. You got groups doing nothing, and they say we're going to do all this, and they're a bunch of criminals taking over. How did Hitler attack Poland? He blew up his own military base and blamed it on them. I mean, this is the oldest trick in the book. And you can see it coming from 1 trillion miles away, boys and girls. So when you open the phones up later, maybe you want to comment on that. Because what is the next move for, I shouldn't call him a bozo. It's his followers that are bozos. And again, Obama himself is a puppet, but he loves it, and he's the front man. And so we talk about Obama. He's the packaging. He's the paint on the monster truck that's running over us. He's the front man, the figurehead of all this happening. All I know is Homeland Security is a giant stinking fraud from pillar to post. I flew back in for a few weeks ago from a vacation for 6 days, doing some great diving and stuff. In Grand Cayman. And they had a computer there when I flew in, and it, out of like hundreds of people, put a black X on me and said, search me, put me into immigration control, basically proctology exam. It's a little gift from the globalist. But see, HUMET's involved, human intelligence, and so I get up there, and the guy's a listener, and he goes, I can't believe this. And he started cussing. He said, I listened to your show. You've been rebroadcast last week. Or you've had David Knight doing the show. He goes, my God. He goes, you ought to see it. He goes, Republican, congressmen come through here and this happens to them. But illegals, we're just told to let them walk right through. Which is in the news this week. The literal illegals with no documentation just fly into Houston. They're just right through. A well-known talk show host with no criminal record. And I was literally slated to be drug off, folks. And just torn through. And he just started cussing and said, this is BS. These computers are taking over. I'm not doing it. Bam, stamps it and sends me through. But see, soon humans will be out of the decision-making process. I mean, knock on wood, I don't think I've had a speeding ticket in about 8 years. 5, 6, 7 years, I don't know. But I couldn't get into the United States. He saw that, he was like, my kid, he checked me. Yeah, there's nothing here. And the guy just said, and started cussing. He had told me he was a listener to that point. He was professional about his cussing. Under his breath, he's like, I can't believe how screwed up this country is. He goes, let me tell you something. He started telling me all about it. Till people were getting mad and lying about 10 minutes later, just telling me how it's all a fraud and how he has to let people in with no IDs. I mean, what a screwed up country, man. What a screw. And there it is, Breitbart, exclusive. Border Patrol admits TSA allowing illegals to fly without IDs. That is how screwed up this is, folks. Let's play those Holder clips since I mentioned it. We have the one where he says the border's under control. That's like Obama saying he knows virtually everything. Let's play that one and then the one where he says he loses sleep at night worried about the Patriots. And of course he does. We know who he is. Of course criminals are up at night worried about people that aren't evil. Here we go.
Yes, the immigration laws are being enforced, though we are faced with an extraordinary situation where thousands of people, young people especially, are fleeing Central America for economic reasons to get away from really endemic violence in their countries. The president has put together a proposal to Congress asking for almost $4 billion. We are surging immigration judges to
that's enough.
Process.
This is how you had to process and legalize them and let them in. This is how dumb they think you are. Give us $3.6 billion and we'll fix it. Having the Border Patrol now be a red carpet conveyor belt into the country. And I don't blame the public. You're busy, you're working, you got a life. You know, you hear, oh, there's a crisis on the border. They created it. They advertised it. They made deals with Guatemala. Obama and Biden met with them. It's on record to make a deal with Mexico that had controlled its border to let unlimited people, including felons. You thought the Cuban boat lift was bad in the 80s? Criminals from Cuba, that was a few 100,000. This is millions, folks. And this is only the first wave. It's going to get 100 times worse. And I mean 100 times. It'll be 1 million a month. It's already filling up the sports stadiums, you name it. And then it'll be this new political class that they control, they exploit. This is the wages of bondage. Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield, true nascent iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox special at InfoWarsLife.com.